Welcome to Data Minders Business Research, answering the hard questions of businesses to research. And not just businesses, government institutions, individuals, and NGOs as well. Earlier this year, Digicel Business did a survey of 2,500 companies across the Caribbean with respect to where they are at in terms of digital transformation. The name of this report is the 2024 Caribbean Region Research Report and Maturity Guide. Now, tomorrow, they're going to have a seminar on this guide, which will include the collaborating organization, Simtai Consulting, who worked with Digicel Business on this study. In today's presentation, we are going to talk about the commendable work that Digicel has done, why it's a benefit to them and it's not just a study, and how you as a business can benefit from this study as well. So let's go. And just in case you didn't know, my name is Tashana Simon. What is the purpose of this report? According to the report itself, the purpose is to provide readers with a comprehensive understanding of the current state of digital readiness along with the actionable insights to navigate the evolving digital landscape effectively. For those of you who have been following me on my LinkedIn page and on my LinkedIn profile and on my business page as well, Data Minders Business Research, you would know that I speak about how the digital landscape affects research, especially with respect to AI and other tools as well. But this study goes beyond that. One would think that the study is just for Digicel to find out whether or not, as they say, where it's just digital readiness. But what benefit would Digicel get from knowing your digital readiness? That is what we will be discussing today. Now, who is this report for according to Digicel? The report is intended, and if you give it a little while to load, lovely, the report is intended for C-suite business leaders, owners, and key decision makers across organizations from finance to IT managers seeking a deeper comprehension of digital transformation. Now, I would like to expand that list. You may not feel that you are part of that list or that you would qualify. In fact, you may say, well, okay, knowing all our business readiness, and they said business, so it's really business people, as I said, it's 2,500 businesses across the Caribbean. That really does not apply to me. And that is not necessarily true. There are other people, other organization, types of organization, class of business people. It's not just C-suite business leaders or even owners that would benefit from this. Many different types of government organizations will benefit from this study. And because I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, I'll be talking about the different local businesses and the different local government organizations specifically. And as well, you have policymakers and you have IT firms themselves, entrepreneurs who own IT firms who would benefit from this study, specifically cybersecurity firms. And also, there will be other points that as I go through will be brought up that that might encourage you to think about how can this report be good for my business or from if you're an employee for my job, even if you're in the private sector or in the public sector, and as they say, key decision makers, but not just key decision makers, it could be anyone who is interested in making their organization digitally better. You may not have the power, but having the knowledge is just the first step to making a change. So, My next point that I'm going to go into, while before we go into these different aspects, and before I go into how exactly these different organizations that I have identified will benefit, I want to talk about how exactly Digicel has surpassed the game of research. Now, they said their purpose, but really think about when we go into what researchers, we say researchers to collect data, to collect information. Really think about what is the real core intent, because if I'm a large organization, and yes, it's great that I'm sharing all of this information with the public and I'm helping you, and so that's the first thing. It's a great marketing tool because now you're engaging the public in terms of being uh, in terms of digital transformation, in terms of information technology, wanting them to look into their security more, wanting them to look into the different things that Digicel business itself can offer. So that's one. That's the first benefit. It is indeed a marketing tool. But I want you to think just a little bit more about the next step, because when I filled their survey out, when they had it months ago, they were asking some essential questions about my business, about myself. And somewhere in Digicel's database, there is a response line with Tishana Simon, Data Minders Business Research, my contact information, my business email, and the responses to all the questions that they asked. And all those questions, I can assume, can align with the offerings that Digicel can give to my business. They will see where I am lacking, where I need improvement, and they can specifically target their marketing ads or email approach to me directly based on my limitations, based on the challenges that I am having. And so, what Digicel has done is they have allowed themselves to collect data on the business public in the Caribbean to know where they can fill the gap with respect to what they offer. Now, you may be like, okay, so even though you list all of these organizations, and I may fall into it, how can Digicel's findings be used towards me and towards my business? The first thing is that you have to look at the benefits, and there is a benefit. Digicel has the resources and the time and the human skills and the collaborations, because they collaborated with Simtai Consulting Limited to be able to conduct this. You may not be in the space to do a study such as this. You might be an IT professional, an individual freelancing IT professional. You might be a business that could offer administrative services that could fill certain gaps, because we would see these things. You might be a government organization that is looking to improve innovation in Trinidad and Tobago, but you don't know what the gaps are. This study addresses that. Not perfectly, of course, because Digicel did the study for themselves. I'm sorry to say, for their business. And it won't cover all your issues. It won't be perfect, but it still allows you, a small organization who may have limited resources, limited time, limited skills, to gain. And so you can still benefit. So let's get into how you can gain, and we'll be going one by one with respect to each type of organization. And of course, this is not a comprehensive review. But I wanted to give you a hint of what can be gained from these findings and what insight can be applied to your type of organization. So let's get into it. So, the first indicator that we'll be looking at is the digital transformation perception of the Caribbean. And according to Digicel, this perception has improved from 2022 when they did the study prior to 2024, this year's approach to the study. And it was an increase in terms of overall readiness to capitalize on digital opportunities and an increase on organization leaders understanding relevant digital trends and emerging technologies. So what it says is, and that is actually a good increase to 43%. Now, for those of you who have been following my pages, I have spoken to the IMF AI index and how far behind we are with respect to that. So to know, and I believe that AI index was done in 2023, the results is for 2023. So to know that we are on our way towards accepting a digitally transformed economy is good. But in terms of belief, in terms of organizations actually knowing uh, the opportunities that are created by digital technology, however, we see that it's the percentage is quite low. If you were to say, let's be statistically significant. Let's say a 70, even though that this is not correct, but we don't have a benchmark right now. So let us use a benchmark of 70% as the ideal, right? We can never make it 100. Let's use a benchmark of 70%. And because I've searched for studies, I found a study, but they don't address this. And we'll talk about that study for other things later on. This is low, right? And so it means that there are a little more than 60% of organizations that do not believe that digital technologies have opportunities in them. Now, as I said, we're going to talk about Trinidad and Tobago and as well, just bringing this back up, Digicel and only Digicel would have the information segregated by country to know exactly the extent of Trinidad and Tobago, exactly the extent of Barbados, and any other country that it is operating in. So, what that means is that there is some room to grow with respect to person's belief. Remember, this is perception. This is not application. And then at 38%, Digital found that Caribbean organizations consider digital transformation as a critical enabler. Again, another perception that if we use our 70% threshold is quite low, okay, and isn't acceptable, basically, right? So that that means, and I hear someone in our digital space saying all the time, if you are not fast, you will be left behind. And digital transformation makes you operate more efficiently and quickly. So that means that for those who have this belief, they will outstrip those who do not agree that digital transformation is of use. Now you may say, this is not for me. This is for you. But the you specifically would be government organizations. Trinidad and Tobago in the 2025 budget specifically spoke about moving towards a digitally transformed economy. Of course, in different ways, in terms of cashless society, in terms of applying AI to agriculture and to different spaces. It has already been done in different areas. Of course, there are room to grow. If you want to know more about that, follow data miners business research so that you can get the full budget presentation, because we did have a budget presentation and this was one of the topics in terms of that adoption of digital, adopting digital and data oriented approaches in our economy. So, who can benefit from this? Of course, the Ministry of Digital Transformation, as they start to get their footing. iGovTT can get this as well. Can get this as a data point to help them make better decisions as well, to help transform the perceptions of persons in Trinidad and Tobago with respect to the acceptance of digital technologies. And so by doing that, and with an increase in digital transformation, of course, any economic student can tell you that that will actually increase economic growth and increase long-term development. And so, but there are many other pieces of data that can benefit government, and we'll get to that very soon. But the next piece of data that we will be looking at really is for so when I say government, I mean direct government as in ministries. So I spoke about that. We're going into government agencies now, specifically NEDCO and YBTT. So as we dive into NEDCO and YBTT, one needs to really consider, given the last example of ministries and government organizations that I've been talking about, how it could be used. If you have any ideas how that that data point, those two data points could be used, put it in the chat below. Let's have a discussion. How could government organization make a better decision with just those two percentages, 37% and of 38%? So we move on. We move on now to YBTT, which is Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago, and NEDCO in Trinidad and Tobago. Again, as I said, I'm focusing on Trinidad and Tobago. So this page, on page 19, speaks to key insights for small and medium enterprises. What is said? Basically, they say 87% of SMEs believe that the digital technology is a critical business enabler. That is pretty good. 43% believe that are innovative compared to competitors but slow to market due to execution issues. Even though that's not above the 70%, it's better than the previous numbers, even though that wouldn't be a relevant comparison. It's still high. I would have liked to know what the comparison between larger organizations and SMEs are for these figures, if I were to be honest. Then we have 66% of digital transformation strategies are delayed. 37% stated that their IT solutions are adequate. So going back to pretty low again, and 22% are stating that they view productivity and collaborative technologies as core to their current business. So what we see from this is that businesses, they have a high belief, SMEs, the future of our economies as they will continue to be vulnerable, and in our economies and the international economies unreliable in certain, given the current stance, political and peacetime considerations. We do have a high belief in SMEs. So with SMEs, you don't have far to go with respect to convincing them. Like, for example, the Ministry of Digital Transformation may have to convince larger organizations, which is surprising if you really think about that, because this is the same question that we had before when we are talking about, I think it's the 38%. Um, and for SMEs, it's 87%. We're just using logic here right now, right? For SMEs, it's 87%. So that means the organizations who are really behind in their belief, and not just the organizations, because what did Digicel say? Digicel said that they interviewed leaders. So large organizations wouldn't have the heads doing the survey. They would have the middle managers and the upper managers and those decision makers there. So what that means is, just using logic, is that buy-in comes in when you have some amount of close responsibility. Because if this is my business, this is my baby, I would have that concern and embrace anything to make my operations better. But if I'm a 9 to 5 person, as much as I may love my organization, it may mean that I am less engaged with the digital changes that need to be made. So that goes now back into, unfortunately, the ministries having to, in their targeting of trying to change perceptions, and again, tell me what ideas you have, targeting employees of large organizations. And anybody in innovation in Trinidad and Tobago can tell you that you need to have a consideration of change management and employee buy-in when you are adopting new technologies. And even though one might say this doesn't show that, it is pointing to the direction of that. When I get excited, I speak very quickly. So I am sorry about that. If I'm stumbling on my words. Let's continue. So what it means is that the problem with SMEs isn't really the drive towards the digital transformation, it's the execution of digital transformation. And so what that means is that organizations like NEDCO and YBTT can put in programs specifically targeted towards helping SMEs improve their digital technology. And as a digital based business myself, data miners business research, that would be such a benefit to an organization like mine, because there are many new organizations that are coming up that are really digitally based, especially, for example, if you have an AI, if you could pay for ChatGPT, the plus, I believe it's in -4 version, that would save you so much time and costs. Now, I want to go into a study that I found by 451 Alliance with respect to what keeps organizations back. So let's go to speak. So in this report by Digicel, they listed the top concerns before embarking on digital transformation. Now, it's not backed by actual figures, which is why I pulled another study done in the United States of America to kind of validate their findings, right? So they talk about lack of resources and technical skills, cost management and return on investment, technology solutions and integration of legacy systems, data security and privacy concerns, no clear cohesive strategy as to the why. Why are we adopting these things? Culture that is difficult to change, and I just spoke a little bit about that, and heavy processes that are embedded for a long time, which in a way comes under culture. So, without moving too far away from what Digicel has recommended, let me relay what this study by 451 Alliance, which comes under S&P Global Market Intelligence, a paper done by Malav Parekh called Digital Transformation Strategies Focus on Reducing Costs and Upskilling. What this author noted was that among organizations with existing and planned digital transformation strategies, organizational complexity are one of the common challenges. Going back to what Digicel spoke about, that will align with number 7, heavy processes that are embedded for a long time. Then they talk to resistance to change, which is number six, a culture that is difficult to change. And then at 20, and the US study marked that at 28%. And then they spoke to specific skills shortage at 27% being one of the other biggest obstacles. And let's see. Yes, at number one, that is found or relayed to by Digicel and Simtai Consulting. They also mentioned budgetary constraints, which is let's see, number one as well, because that will fall under lack of resources. And they also mentioned as well, for bigger organization, and I for bigger organizations, the same thing but at larger percentages. Organizational complexity at 45%, insufficient employee strength at 28%. For SMEs, so now they're being specific to SMEs, it's a mix of resistance to change, which is interesting at 33%, because it's not that if we use the percentage that we had before, which is about 80 something percent in terms of seeing it as an enabler, it's not that our SMEs are resistant to change. It's just that they don't have the resources to do it. So that's interesting that we are performing, the SMEs in the region, actually performing better than for this study, the SMEs in the United States of America at 33%, which means that it's about 67% of persons who want and see digital transformation as an enabling aspect that should be included in their business, right? 29% lack budget and 29% has skill shortages. So that goes to the execution and the budget. So again, YBTT and NEDCO can make a difference in persons' lives, SMEs' lives, with respect to specifically targeting digital transformation programs. Help them invest in digital transformation specifically, because what that means is that many of the challenges that they may have as new businesses, small businesses, may be easily or more easily addressed. And so that low percentage of IT solutions being adequate, right, will increase, right? Now, it's interesting that they view productivity and collaborative technologies as core to their business. So even though there is a cognitive dissonance there, even though they believe it's critical, they don't believe that it is core. And that goes back to the Ministry of Digital Transformation. So there is a need to target. But once we align that belief that it can enable businesses at 87% to that view productivity as a collaborative and collaborative technologies as core to their current business, you could imagine how far SMEs in the Caribbean can can go with respect to their achievements and their impact on our economies. Now, we're going straight to IT firms and how they themselves can benefit from this paper. And I think IT firms, I will be most interested and will not need my help with this, but I will still dive in a little bit for those who are hesitant about engaging IT firms, to that you just might need their help a little bit. So we're going on to that next chapter. We go on to page 12, which has a lot of information, by the way. And we'll start with cybersecurity businesses. Now, this page is about the future of digital transformation, and what has been the current use by the 2,500 businesses in the Caribbean that Digicel Business and Simtai Consulting Limited questioned. So they noted that 15% of businesses believe in or use cybersecurity. Now, digital business is in the business of cybersecurity, but you, as an IT firm, just from this number, will know and can actually use this figure in your own marketing to show that and to show your potential customers that more need to be done. Now, of course, Digicel will have the more direct approach because they will know exactly the 85% who do not use cybersecurity, of course. You may not, but you can use these figures to sort of make an argument in your own marketing tools to show that this is a problem. Because this is a statistic that has not been seen anywhere else, at least not recently. So, what do they say about the 15% cybersecurity use? They say many businesses still analyze threats manually, but digital solutions offer faster and more efficient alternative. Now, you don't want to plagiarize Digicel's lines, but that alone will convince anyone who have the capacity to be able to invest in cybersecurity. But as we noted before, financial resources, especially for SMEs, is a restriction. Then we have for payment systems in the Caribbean, for example, Paywise and all the other types that we have that are online, we can see that 12% of companies in the Caribbean use digital payment systems. Now, I remember having a conversation with the owner of Paywise, and he asked me a very important question. Why don't persons like to use digital payment systems? And I said, I don't have the answer. Only research can answer that. And so let's see what Digicel found. Now, Digicel said every organization transacting with a customer or citizen needs to have a digital solution for monetary transactions, whether that is a card present or not present, QR codes and or mobile wallets. So it still did not answer the research question because while we talk about digital transformation, while Digicel intends to, as I said in the beginning, target for its own uses, and I believe that is what they are doing and should do if that's not the plan, um, then it means that, and this goes out to the remaining to those who have payment platforms and would like to capture that remaining 88%. Get together. I mean, you all are competitors, yes. It will not breach the Fair Trading Commission because you're not trading, doing trade secrets. You get an independent body, for example, Data Miners Business Research, and you do a study as to why digital payments aren't being used in the Caribbean so that you can increase that usage. Just an idea from Data Miners Business Research. And then we have, and page 12 is so rich in data. We have policymakers forming on this being applied to this page as well. We can see only 13% of the 2,500 companies interviewed or questioned by Digicel and Simtai Consulting, only 13% uses. They only 13% of businesses use artificial intelligence. What do they say? AI is still emerging. Well, obviously, from our artificial intelligence index, you can check out my personal profile page and message me if you'd like for the review. It was a three part review on Trinidad and Tobago's status with respect to AI. Um, and so they say that AI is still emerging, but should be a priority. It can greatly enhance efficiency in digital transformation tasks, such as using customer service bots. Having the right skills to manage AI from the start is crucial for optimization. And while my business does not teach about AI, we have local businesses that teach about AI. And I'm not pulling a plug for anyone here. I've taken a course myself from Incus. And so you can go and learn about AI so that you can apply it to your business. But where do policymakers come in? Policymakers, again, in its use swaying the public, or in these cases businesses, to increase their digital transformation, now know that there is a lot to go and need to make policies to increase the use of artificial intelligence, because then we'll be behind. And this especially goes out to Trinidad and Tobago. Uh, and I have more insight on AI, but that's something that will be coming in the future, not near future, but in the future, from Data Minders Business Research and myself, God willing. So now we are going into our last organization, which I did not include under government. But I guess depending on what your thoughts are, and you can tell me below if you saw that Kariri could have been here, Kariri could have been there. But I wanted to focus on page 9 for Kariri, because given all of this, Kariri would be the second foremost source of supporting businesses with respect to increasing digital transformation. That's after the Ministry of Digital Transformation. So let's get into chatting quickly about that. Using the 70% threshold, this is actually painful. Any organization in this 2024, where we have countries like, for example, China, using AI as a social, not just AI, digital technology as social, as a measure of social advancement, um, and to and AI is being used to write books. And I mean, we could talk about the ethics at another time. But and technology is being developed. We are beyond, I think we are past what it is, industry 4.0, where it will eventually affect the labor supply and the type of skills that are needed in the economy, no matter how big or small your country is. It is disheartening to know that while there was an improvement in the intent of using digital transformation, one of the business goals would be to improve innovation. That improved from 35% to 51%. That is still a concern. That means that a lot of persons are not operating in 2024. A lot of organizations, decision makers, entrepreneurs, small, big, large, are not operating in 2024. You would not believe the technologies that are out there with respect to, and artificial intelligence has taken it to a whole other level. Between the Internet of Things, data science, normal statistics now being called data science, and the new version that they keep, the new name that they keep coming up with, when it's really statistics at the core. It's just statistics, but with a tool. It's a concern that 51% believes that digital technology, only 51% believes that digital technology is core to achieving innovation. Whatever innovation that you have, even if you do not think it will involve a computer, it will involve technology at some point, at some level. If it's not in creating the new product that you have because you're a chef, but in terms of marketing it. If it's not in terms of being able to do the research behind it, because you know the information and you know where to find the research. It's in terms of synthesizing the information, so that when you go to do a pitch, it will not be a whole deck of documents, but it will be one slide. That is where we are at right now, and there's so much more that could be achieved. So let's see what Digicel and Simtai has to say. Encouraging a culture of innovation helps unlock new ideas and solutions, enhancing overall business performance. Effective decision making is supported by a culture that values data driven insights and collaborative input. Moreover, culture focused on efficiency and cost effectiveness can streamline processes and reduce waste and drive significant cost savings. Save that money, y'all. Integrating these cultural elements ensures that your business not only adapts to but thrives in your digital transformation journey. Now, this is an overall request by Digicel to change your business's culture, and we should all take heed, no matter our size of organization. And Kariri is doing a great job. I'm at Kariri right now for a certain project that I have, and I've always followed Kariri, and Kariri is top notch in terms of driving innovation. And I've met a lot of persons who are innovative in their thought and their thinking. So again, only Digicel would know what the Trinidad and Tobago change has been. It would have been like nice to know the breakdown of Trinidad, and to make those differences. So what I would ask in this case, because Carice does such a good job, I don't know if it's possible, but the Digicel themselves said that they believe in collaboration. So I'm just going to put this out there, that Digicel approach these organizations and offer the base data. You don't have to give it to the population. I know that you are competing with, you have different competitors, local IT firms, local cybersecurity firms. You don't have to give it to the general population, but give a breakdown of findings to the governments and to the governmental organizations and the different authorities that are supposed to improve innovation. Because unless they themselves have that those spreadsheets, they can't dive into more insights that can really make a change. That Digicel would actually increase and improve your demand for your products, because more persons will think about wanting to have digital transformation as part of their business strategy. So we have a special note as I close, and I would like to say, before I go into that special note, that your business could do what Digicel did. Your business can gain insights and use a study to be able to understand the market and as a marketing tool to capture the market. And if you are interested in that, check out Data Minders Business Research. We have a website. You just have to Google it. We're there. We have the website, Facebook, Instagram, and you can message me as well personally on my personal LinkedIn profile and my business LinkedIn profile, which is Data Minders Business Research as well. So let's get into the last note uh, that we will be discussing today. Welcome to the beautiful page 15, which just looks like uh, just a bunch of charts, but has certain benefits. Now, it would have been interesting. Now, they only looked at hospitality, financial services, and government public service in terms of, and oh, that says a lot. That actually says a lot. Government public service in terms of certain evolution of priority goals. And again, Digicel has all the little sub markets, but for all of you, not just IT firms, for all sorts of small business. You can kind of look at this and see who your potential target market could be. So, for example, if you're an innovation expert, uh, you would more try to target hospitality. You could target the, in fact, you could target the hospitality, depending, the hospitality industry, depending on many things. And I even know someone who wanted to look at innovation in the hospitality market, and that the tourism market needs a little bit more innovation. He himself is an innovation expert. If you'd like to be in contact with him, if you want to talk about innovation a little bit more, contact me. Let's have that discussion. So you could, to improve customer experience, hospitality. You know that you're a customer experience professional, or even a self development professional, where you know your customers are having poor experiences because of your staff, and your staff is demotivated. You get a business professional. And as a business professional, you can target now the hospitality sector and businesses in the hospitality sector to offer those services to help them improve their customer experience. It's not just about digital technologies. And by advancing your own digital technologies as a self-development professional, your digital technology knowledge, you become an expert that can not only give them self-development tools, but digital tools that will make you an all-rounded individual or business that can go to a hotel and say, hey, this is what I can offer. This study shows that, um, that the priority goal is to improve customer engagement. It might not only be digital, but I bring digital advantages with me, and I can target you as well. Improving processes and cost efficiencies for all those administrative professionals, some of which are who are my close friends, and my great acquaintances. You can actually know, now you know to target hospitality. Now you know to target, and well, government has improved, but you could still target government public service in a, of course, stick to the office of procurement regulations. Get yourself procured. In fact, that is what that is saying in terms of the government public service. Get yourself on the OPR platform, so that these gaps, because I did see OPR advertising for specific skills that would fall into improving cost efficiencies. For example, if the only thing that comes to mind right now is auditing. So this is Data Minders Business Research. This is a really long one. And I would like to say to Digicel, congratulations. You have done something that is innovative, that I hope businesses can follow and are willing to follow, because research is the only way that you can make better decisions. Or let me say, more informed decisions. And while we all have become informed because of the work that Digicel has done, the only organization that is the most informed is Digital Business and Simtai Consulting themselves. Have a good one.